What's going on, Wolfpack Nation? It is finally 2026 NC State football season prediction time, y'all. You got myself, Layton Smith. You got Mr. Ethan Berry here, and we are so excited to give you our game-by-game predictions, win, losses, you name it. And, we'll definitely be upfront and honest. Like these are our honest predictions here. We're going to try and do our best, balancing what the heart wants, Ethan, which is 12-0, ACC champions, college football playoffs. We want that, no doubt about it. But we got to use our heads a little bit here too as well. So how it's going to work is we'll go game by game, obviously starting off with the Virginia game. And, by the end of it, we'll have our full record. Now, part one will be basically the first 6 games of the season, which is before the second bye of the season. And then for part two, we'll do the final 6 games of the season. So make sure to stay tuned for part two, and to make sure you do not miss out on part two, make sure to hit that subscribe button. If it's lit up for you, that means you have not smashed yet. So make sure to hit that subscribe button, as it really helps support the channel a ton. And also too, if you are so excited for NC State football, just like we are, do us a favor, hit that like button too as well. So with that being said, Ethan, let's jump into it here, man. Let's start off with game number 1, NC State at Virginia, not in Brazil, unfortunately, but either way, we're still playing football. We're still moving forward here. But are you? Obviously, NC State is a 5.5, 6-point underdog, depending on where you look. But NC State beat UVA last year, even though it wasn't on the record as an ACC game. Virginia went 11-3 last year and finished number 16 in both polls. But new quarterback, transfer out of Missouri, a very senior-led team, which definitely helps, especially in today's college football era for sure. It's going to be a great challenge to come right out the gate here. But what are your thoughts here, Ethan, on whether NC State can pull off this upset or not?
It's weird to think you could be starting with the hardest game on the schedule. You look at the point spread, and Vanderbilt's a bigger spread, but it's also a non-conference game. You throw Louisville out there, who could be tough, will be tough, I should say. Like Florida State, if Florida State say, like, everything you say about Florida State, you kind of say with a caveat. It's like, hey, everything, like, it may go south for them. But I think you could look back at this and say, this is the best team that NC State is playing this year. And I don't know that that's reflected in the point spread. Like, I think State will probably be bigger underdogs, and probably to Vanderbilt, if I had to guess. I think Vanderbilt, you're looking at like a touchdown, maybe a little more right now. So, yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm a fan. Like, it's weird. I don't really trust Virginia, but I am a fan of how they operate in the portal. I like that they went cheap. That quarterback, I've talked about that possibility with NC State. Well, Virginia did that. Virginia built up the rest of their roster. They brought in a bunch of old guys. Look, Pribula, not as expensive as CJ Bailey. And they brought in 2 quarterbacks, right? So that was, you figure, a real competition. So for me, there's 2 things about this game that spook me. Number 1 is Virginia's defense. I think because State scored 35 against them last year, and that was probably State's best offensive game all year. Yeah. I don't think we fully recognized that Virginia's defense really became very good down the stretch last year. SP Plus, I believe, had them as a top 20, if not a top 25 defense. And they're projected in a similar range this year. And so I wonder, look, I also talk about, hey, if you bring in a bunch of portal guys, it takes time to get going. And so I could see that applying to Virginia, kind of just like you saw early. So I do lean Virginia here. And I mentioned one thing that spooks me. Number 1 is the defense. Number 2 is NC State early on in seasons. I know I'm the stats guy. I need to verify this, but I'm pretty sure they haven't covered the spread in week 1 since 2021. And so that's 4 straight. In 2021, they destroyed South Florida before going on the road to Mississippi State and putting up their worst game of the year. So that's like, they've kind of gotten themselves in some dog fights where they just, I don't want to say haven't been ready to go, but they're not as good early in the season, especially week 1, as they have been, down the stretch. And so those are kind of the 2 things that scare me. Those are the 2 reasons for me, why I do lean Virginia here. And I do, like, this isn't a game that I bet. I don't feel strongly enough about it, but it bet on the spread, I should say, with Virginia at what, 5.5.
Yep.
I do like Virginia to win this game.
I feel like a little bit like betting on this game would be like betting on preseason football, where it's like,
Yeah.
how do you
Yeah.
know? Like there's
No.
no metrics you can use for this. Like it's who the heck knows how all these pieces are going to fit together. So yeah, I mean, so with Bo, he is a guy that is a dual threat in a sense. Last year at Missouri when he started, he averaged around 10 rushes a game. Keep in mind again that I'm pretty sure sacks count into that as
Yeah.
well. But again, I'm only averaged 3 yards a carry last year, so not necessarily an explosive or anything like that, but it's definitely a part of his game and something he's comfortable with. Now, the thing that stands out to me about his stats from last year is the games where he struggled the most are the games where they faced tougher defenses, in terms of formidable defenses. South Carolina averaged about had a 59% completion percentage, who's has Dylan Stewart, solid defense. Alabama, 57% completion percentage. Auburn, won in double overtime, had a 57% completion percentage. And then Oklahoma, who has a really good defense, another 55% completion percentage. So, again, just a guy that I feel like is that Virginia brought in because, I mean, he has a lot of experience in terms of playing at SEC caliber level. Now, in terms of, is he elite or even necessarily a great quarterback? I think he's a quarterback that will be able to do the job. But my big thing is, can CJ win the quarterback battle? Can he do more than be a good quarterback for UVA? Can he be that elite quarterback that we expect him to be this season? And so that's really where it is for me. But also too as well, can NC State establish their game early? If you're in the second quarter and you're still trying to, you know, figure out who's your target guy, if you're still trying to get the offense into a rhythm, that for me is the big key. If CJ can come out and punch UVA in the mouth early, then I think you're going to be in a good spot. But if CJ and the offense is struggling, then it's only going to be a matter of time until UVA I feel like breaks through. So yeah, I'm going to stick with your prediction too as well, and put this as a close loss, but only just because of the fact that I think that UVA's experience being very senior led, you look at what Indiana did last year, experience does a lot, and playing at UVA too as well. It won't be the craziest atmosphere by far that NC State will play in, but it'll be enough, where it could definitely make a difference. Look at Brennan Armstrong 2023. So it won't necessarily be that, much of a storyline, but it'll still be formidable enough. So 0-1 there, unfortunately, to start the season, but would love, love, love to be wrong on that. Ethan, Richmond, we can spend about 30, 45 seconds on this. Coming off a bye week, FCS team. Anything to really say about this? Are you gonna absolutely just go for the clickbait, Ethan, of all clickbaits, and give us an L on this one too?
No. I don't. You said 30 seconds. That was a lot. I don't have anything on Richmond.
All right, so 1-1.
You would like to see Will Wilson throw the ball in this game, though. That's one thing I will say.
Yeah, no, agreed for sure. Would love to put some good tape on it for future games to make future opponents aware that, just a heads up, Will Wilson can throw the football. Yeah, I agree with that. But again, Ethan, we're let's see. Today we're recording this. It's like August 21st. First home game of the season. Tailgating will be back. The grills are going to be back. Hopefully, it won't be too hot. So a lot of grilling. And one thing that I hope too for sure is that all NC State fans definitely get that Oconee Gold BBQ sauce and rubs in their hands for that game, because it will be very, very beneficial for your barbecuing for sure. Ethan, I'm still waiting on my Georgia peach barbecue sauce, man. I'm waiting for it. I love I always every single year wait for the summertime to go get some peach milkshake from Chick-fil-A, not a sponsor by the way. But for Oconee Gold to come out with a peach flavored barbecue sauce, I'm excited for it. So make sure to go Wolfpack Nation, go to our Oconee Gold BBQ sauce.com. Use the code Tuffy Talk, all caps, all one word, to get 15% off your entire order. That's once again All Tuffy Talk, all one word, 15% off your entire order, and you can use it repeatedly, not just one time. As many times as you order there, make sure you use that code and you get 15% off your entire order. Go check them out here today before that opening home game versus Richmond. All right, Ethan, let's jump into it though. It gets a little bit tougher here at Vanderbilt here. To my recollection, Diego Pavia isn't going to be on the opposite side of the ball right now. Is that still true?
As far as I know. But did they
As far
get
as I
better
know.
at quarterback?
Oh, I
Right?
love
I
it.
mean, that's the question. Like, probably not in week
Yeah.
3, right? But I remember I firsthand experience. I went to the game where State. It was Trevor Lawrence's first start down at Clemson, and I remember going down thinking, "Oh, State's got a good. It wasn't a great defense, but a good defense, and they're going to be able to give him some fits. It's his first, college start." No, none of that
Yep.
happened. Lawrence was really good, and I think Jared Curtis is that kind of prospect. But I don't believe at this point we even know for sure that he's going to be their starting quarterback. And like I said,
Right.
in week 3, like Trevor Lawrence was generational at Clemson. You don't expect Jared Curtis to be that good that quickly, but I do think he probably gives them more upside. And again, I think they grade out better offensively than defensively. But again, they lost Pavia, they lost Eli Stowers, who was a pretty big draft pick for them. Another team sort of like Virginia, where I trust what they did in the portal. Like I think they've done a good job building that program up, and so this is a fascinating, I guess, game. Where kind of like Virginia, you're going in as underdogs, and to me, these two are the games, not the only two, but two of the games where you paid CJ Bailey to go win these games for you.
Yep.
And yeah, I do lean Vanderbilt here. I mean, it's hard, kind of like struggling in week 1. And I'm not sitting here telling you State is going to lose because they haven't been able to win on the road in these kind of spots against non-conference games. But there is an element of that where it's like I kind of got to see you do it at some point, and they
Right.
haven't. And so yeah, like you kind of hope. Again, same thing with a couple years ago when State went down to play Tennessee, and it was Nico Iamaleava. I was like, well, if Nico's not that good, well, he was pretty good, and State would have got smoked anyway. But I don't know, it just kind of always feels to me like every time, like, well, if this guy's not that good,
Right.
about like a 5-star freshman, they turn out to be pretty good.
Yeah. I don't know, man. For me, this is kind of another one of those games where, from a Dave Doran perception perspective, can be a huge swinger for sure. Like, if NC State blows this one, especially if they get the beats break speed off them, then oh man, Twitter is going to be quite the interesting place, to say the least. But if they pull off this win, though, even with the loss to Virginia, man, that would be one of Doran's best wins, I would say, that he's ever had, if he could pull this off. Just off the top of my head, SEC win on the road, Ethan. That's pretty big.
No, but yeah, but he's beaten Clemson, he's beaten Florida State, he beat Lamar Jackson. Like I don't know,
Yeah,
I don't really go that far from a
I
perception
said one
perspective.
of, not the best, one of the
Yeah, not
best.
yeah, but even
I mean,
still,
because
like I don't even think it's top 5. We don't even know if this
yeah,
Vanderbilt team's going to be good. Like
well,
it'd be one thing if you're like,
yeah,
oh, you're going on the road to beat Alabama or Georgia, like that's different. But
sure,
Vanderbilt's win-loss total is 5.5. So, you're still kind of wondering if they can even get to a bowl. My I do agree from a perception perspective. You're absolutely right. Like it's going to go a long way. From a perception perspective relative to how much this impacts the season, it's a ton of perception, but in terms of the season, I don't really think this game matters at all. Like
no,
State's not going to be an at-large team. They have to win the ACC. So I like this one. Yeah, sure, it would be great, and it would be a great talking point, kind of like a monkey off the back situation. But
hmm
again, you'd easily trade this loss for a win against Virginia, a win against Louisville, however you want to
hmm
look at that.
Well, and that kind of goes to it. The other piece, though, as well, is I truly can paint a perfect picture where, you know, we struggle to get things clicking in a timely fashion, and unfortunately, we're a step late and cannot pull off the win versus UVA. But they take the bye week. They come into Richmond. They pull off a Campbell 2025-esque and just, dominate 35-42 nothing first half, and then put Will Wilson in for a good amount and let him get some reps. Uh, and now you're ready to go on the road and face Vanderbilt. And like you said, Vanderbilt again, won't be the Vanderbilt of the last 2 years, but but like we've also said, like, you don't have Diego Pavia. You have either a five-star freshman, or you have basically another option that obviously is not big enough to where you're feeling confident of who the starting quarterback is gonna be. And, is this the game where, CJ Bailey can break through and put together, like we said, that an elite performance, which, I think is definitely he's gonna be due for this season, but just when's it gonna happen? But yeah, I mean, in terms of like SEC, Dorn unfortunately has not had a great track record with the SEC. And so to beat a Vanderbilt team on the road would be big. So I'm gonna lean on the upside here. But again, and just also too as well, even though it doesn't necessarily matter for the season in terms of a chance to win ACC championship, from a momentum standpoint, to take a big win like that into App State, and then into Louisville will be huge, to kind of set up that Louisville game here. So, all right, but App State though, I'm a little man, you know, I'm easy to say let's spend 30 seconds on this, Ethan, here, but to me, this is a little bit of a trap game of a sort. It's stuck right in between two larger games of the season. You're going on the road to Vanderbilt, and then you face Louisville the next week. Not necessarily say I fully see an upset, but I unfortunately see an opportunity where you're kind of got your feet caught in cement for a second, and then NC State picks it back up and takes over and wins the game here. Kind of Western Carolina-esque from 2024 is kind of where I'm worried this game might go here a little bit, especially because App State's going to come into this game really fired up to make a statement.
Yeah, I mean, Avs built a reputation on these type of games, right? I do think, to me, the difference is they have not been the same team since
Yeah,
Portal. Like, they have not transitioned well in the Portal era. For
yeah,
a while there, they transitioned to the Sun Belt from the FCS level. They kept right on rolling. They went through coaches every year who get promoted. They just kept on rolling. But it does seem like the portal has kind of thrown them a curveball that they haven't quite figured out yet. And so, I, I mean, I think they're 500 the last 3 years. So this is not and again, some of those app teams that pulled off upsets, that went to Texas A&M, that went to, I believe, South Carolina or at UNC, like, those teams weren't great. They weren't vintage App State teams, but I still think they were better than this team. So I expect yeah, like, they are an FBS team. They are a Sun Belt team. Like, I don't think this is like, they're I don't think this is, oh, State just does whatever they want to do and wins by 6 touchdowns. But I do expect State to be like 3 touchdown favorites in this game, something in that range. Maybe it's 17 or 24 points one way or the other, but yeah, I mean, I expect State to win this game relatively handily. Again, I think their reputation, what's to say? I don't know if I'm gonna say this right. It precedes themselves, where it's not as good as they actually are at this point in time,
mm,
but it's still a game. It's still a game. It's kind of like Dave in the SEC. Like, that's not a real thing, but you still kind of have
it-
to address it. Like,
correct.
does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Oh yeah, for sure. No, 100%. Yeah, I don't really have much more to add just besides what I said, which is just, you know, for me, it definitely fits the definition of what could be considered a trap game. You can't necessarily
Oh
overlook
yeah,
it. Can't get can't
hmm
can't can't get caught sleeping for sure.
yeah.
App State
That's a
will be
great
fired
call on
up.
your part. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll get the best version of App State, whatever the best version of App State is,
Right.
on September 26th. Now, moving on to the next weekend, though, Louisville, Saturday, October 3rd, parents and families weekend at NC State. In my opinion, by far the biggest home game on the schedule this upcoming season here,
hmm
and especially with Louisville's win total being at 8.5, which is the highest of anyone that we play at home. Uh, Definitely going to be a challenge for sure. And Louisville's a team that every national broadcaster, you name it, has circled as a sleeper team for the ACC Championship and a college football playoff spot.
I don't even know that consider them a sleeper. I mean, an 8.5 win total. They're plus 500, plus 700 in that range to win the ACC. I like, to me, this isn't a sleeper. Like, this is either the second or the third best team in the conference, at least going in. Now, like, they've got a question at quarterback with Lincoln Kienholz, whatever, kid who never played at Ohio State. But again, another team that it's been portal every single year. And last year they kind of felt like they fell apart down the stretch with Miller Moss, who just wasn't as good. And I've given Virginia, Vanderbilt, even Louisville kind of tip of the hat for, building the program, or building successful seasons, I should say, through the portal. But you can see those kind of fall apart. And I think you did, like Louisville, I think still won 8 last year, but they kind of fell apart down the stretch. And so again, like when you do the portal thing, when you're bringing in 25, 30 guys and most of them to start every year, it can be hit or miss. And so that's kind of my thing with Louisville. Again, right now, this is probably the biggest 50-50 game on the schedule that I see right now.
Yeah.
Factoring in home and away. Like this one is a true, this spread could be even. So for me, again, another spot, I think Louisville, very similar to Virginia, where Louisville's going to be better at the other spots on the roster, and NC State's going to be better at quarterback. And if I'm NC State, I need CJ Bailey to go win this game. I do think State kind of got their mojo back at home. They had lost 4 out of 5 or 4 out of 6 against ACC teams at home from the end of 24 through 25. I think they got their mojo back a little bit down the stretch last year, beating Georgia Tech, Florida State, UNC. So I expect them to continue that, and I like State to win this game. I do. I have State beating Louisville and getting a big win at home.
Yeah, love that. Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. I mean, just to kind of highlight, so you've already mentioned Lincoln Holtz, however you say his last name, transfer from Ohio State. Yeah, I mean, you know, a guy that you kind of look at as, is he going to be a guy looking, with a chip on his shoulder to prove himself? He's got some really good options around him. Obviously, has a great head coach in Jeff Brom, who's been very impressive, and now his 4th year at Louisville at a 28-12 overall record, which is impressive for sure. Obviously, in 2023, took them to the ACC Championship, where they lost to a third-string quarterback, FSU. Wish Louisville could have taken care of the job and gone ahead and put Florida State out of their misery, so we don't have to be hearing about it 3 years later. Oh, we should have made the playoffs. Well, whatever. It's old news. But also too as well, got to give a highlight as well to what's his name? Clev Lubin, edge rusher for senior edge rusher for Louisville. Definitely getting a lot of NFL talk. So a guy that NC State offensive line is going to have their hands full with.
Yeah.
And so
well,
keep it
Isaac
upright.
Brown is Isaac Brown is their guy at running back too, and he's a big play guy. He's very, very good. Could have gone anywhere in the country, and Louisville was able to keep him.
Yeah. So really, I think the question for Louisville to me is can Kleinholtz, basically do his part to keep rush lanes open for him. That's gonna be a big key. But yeah, gonna be a big game. A lot of build up to that game, and wouldn't be surprised if it's if we only have one loss to Virginia at that point, and Louisville only has one loss to Ole Miss at that point. Can it be a more of a prime time game? We'll see. Time will tell. But yeah, I'm gonna stick with the win too as well. I think gonna give great 2018 vibes. Not necessarily because of who's at quarterback, but still NC State versus Louisville. Definitely gonna be a lot of build up to this game. We'll see what happens here. So I'll give a dub to that one.
So you don't think Lincoln Kienholz is Lamar Jackson?
No, Lamar coming off.
We'll see.
Off of Heinzman, Kleinholtz coming off of being a backup at Ohio State, it's about the similar, 6 of one, half a dozen of another, right? Same thing, right? So, Julian Sain's up for the Heisman candidate, Heisman Trophy, and he has one of the best wide receiving groups in the country. But what do I know? So, anyway, though, but to wrap up part 1 here, though, Ethan, going to our down the road foe here with good old Wake Forest, the craziest. Didn't they win 9 wins?
They won 9
Didn't they have
last
9
year.
wins last
Yeah.
year? Yeah, the craziest 9-win team of all time.
Yeah, and again, another like State doesn't get credit for beating an 11-win Virginia team. I also haven't seen them get any credit for beating a 9-win Wake Forest team because when State went to play them, nobody took Wake Forest seriously. And I think Wake Forest, look, I know we like to bow down to 10-win seasons and think they're the be all end all, but that was a pretty fluky. We've seen some very fluky 10-win seasons, which some people would rather have. We've seen that was as fluky of a 9-win season I think you'll see. All smoke and
Absolutely.
mirrors. I do think their defense was very good. I do. And I was impressed with what Dickert did, but some of the vibes around, like, apparently they gave less money and they don't know where the money disappeared to. The vibes around Wake Forest have just kind of been weird. And I do like, I know we laughed at Gio Lopez at UNC last year. I think you get him in the right system. I think he's a productive college guy. And if you're able to couple him with a solid defense again, which Wake Forest defense last year was good. It was. I again, win total is 5.5 at home. I expect State to win this one, but I do think it could be tricky. Like, I think Wake Forest gets somebody. I'd probably pick Wake Forest to get to 6 or 7 wins. I kind of wonder if this is a situation where the team is similar, maybe even a little better, but it's not a 9-win team. It's one of those they're better, but the record is worse type of situations. Now, again,
Yeah.
going from 9 wins to, like, if it's 6 wins, that's a hard argument to make, but yeah, I do think this game could get a little tricky. Again, coming off the Louisville game, you talked about a trap game. All of these home games, like, I feel like you should pick State to win them. But, like, I don't think this is a layup. I don't think this is an easy win. Like, I think this is going to be a dogfight. And again, I would expect the spread to be a touchdown or less.
Yeah. No, I mean, again, yeah, like you said, kind of a little bit of me hopes that Gio is solid this season just to like give another,
Oh, he will be. I think he will be. Yeah.
like another shake of the fist to Bill Belichick, saying like, see, like once you get away from the great Bill Belichick, and all of a sudden now he's a solid quarterback, But
Well,
yeah, no,
yeah, he was in the wrong system, and I think Wake Forest kind of understands that. And if they put him in the right system,
yeah.
I think he'll be better.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, flukiest 9-3 season ever. I mean, especially Robbie Ashford, which is so boom or bust. He would get one finally great pass and beat you, but the other 4 of the 5 times it would not be too really impressive at all. So still don't know how they got to 9 wins, but hey, we'll take it. We beat a
I got
9-3
there.
win
Yeah.
team, put on the resume. So with that being said, Wolfpack Nation, we'll wrap up part 1 right there. So I think I have NC State 5-1, Ethan 4-2. My loss
Yeah.
being to UVA, Ethan's being to Virginia and Vanderbilt.
Vandy.
So with that being said, make sure to tune in for part 2. And again, to make sure you do not miss out on it, make sure to do us a big favor. Hit that subscribe button so you're notified on all your devices whenever we go live with any new content, including part 2. Make sure to go give a shout out to our amazing sponsor, Oconee Gold BBQ sauce. So you just go to Oconee, Oconee, Gold BBQ sauce and rubs.com, and make sure to go use the code Tuffy Talk, all one word, to get 15% off your entire order, y'all. And make sure to go check out our amazing Patreon too as well, that my man Ethan here runs 3 videos per week. So 12 videos a month for only $5 a month. Go click the link down in the description below to sign up today to get some amazing additional members only content. Make sure also to give us a follow, Tuffy Talk Now, on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And with that being said, y'all, we'll talk to y'all soon. As always, go Pack, y'all.